Well, I hated having a traditional job per se. I felt like I was in a dead-end role every single day. I almost felt like a failure because I had a traditional job because I never wanted one. So I always knew I was going to start something of my own. I never planned to start an AI-first CRM. Like I said, it just came from the inefficiencies we found, but this would not have been possible if I never met Bhavya. So you find opportunities in random places that you would never expect, and you just have to take advantage of those relationships and nurture them. Hi, Michael. My name is Chase Cohn. I'm 25 years old. I'm from Florida, United States, and currently I'm working on Spaces, an AI-first CRM for financial advisory firms.
So 2 questions. How do you find yourself in Bali today? But also, how do you find yourself in the startup world?
Okay, so it's a little unconventional. I didn't come to Bali looking to build a startup, and I didn't really come to Bali looking to come to Bali at all, right? So I was working at a wealth management firm in Florida, just hit around my 2-year mark. At the same time, my lease was ending back home. I had a buddy at the time. My best friend was traveling Southeast Asia. He left his job. I thought it was crazy. He was embarking on this 6-month solo backpacking trip around Southeast Asia to all these countries I thought were dangerous to go to, right? Eventually, he said, "Hey, why don't you join me?" And at the time, he was in Sri Lanka. I thought about it. I didn't even know where Sri Lanka was on the map. I kind of just looked it up, said, all right, bought a ticket, went to Sri Lanka, knew nothing about it. But yeah, I left my job, went to Sri Lanka for a couple of weeks, traveled, had a blast, realized not everything is as you hear on TV. It's actually a wonderful country, wonderful people. After that, we went over to Jakarta. We backpacked through Java a couple of months, for a couple of weeks. Did some stuff for my father as well. My father's in the golf business. So I kind of got the opportunity to explore some factories because a lot of golf gloves are made in Java, actually. Golf as in the sport.
Right, the small club.
Yeah, so I went to Java. I didn't know anything about the golf glove factories. I went on Google Maps, I typed in golf glove factory, and I literally just walked into random factories full of these Indonesian people, didn't speak English. And eventually I met 2 really cool guys and we started working with them, which was cool. But came to Bali. We actually stayed at the same hostel, but we weren't really friends. Like, he was always like on his computer coding, doing random stuff, standoffish. I continued my journey exploring with my other friend Nelson. We went all over Bali, came back. After 2 months of Bali, I had to do a visa run because you can only stay for 2 months before they kick you out and you got to come back. So I decided to go to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Totally by chance, I'm just walking on the streets of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I run into this guy. Like, oh, there's a familiar face.
On a random street?
On a random street in the middle of Malaysia. Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, oh, that's the guy from the hostel. So we went out, had a good time, came back. Nothing really came of that. We didn't plan to start a business together. But I ran into him here, actually, and we were working on the same problem. I told him about my experience in financial advisory, how the financial advisor's tech stack is kind of like they have a dozen things going on all the time, right? And they're not tech guys. They're financial advisors. They should focus on advising. So we decided to kind of do some discovery research and realize this might be a cool opportunity to work on.
So it was the challenges and problems that you saw when you're in wealth management.
Exactly. That's what spurred this idea.
What was your role in wealth management, and why did you want to go into wealth management in the first place?
So I went to school for finance. I was kind of drawn to the wealth management industry because it is a very entrepreneurial side, although it's safe, right? It's risk averse. You're helping people manage their finances. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. My father is, like I said, he's run his own business for 30 years. But my role, I was an associate advisor on a team managing a couple hundred clients. When we were there, I realized just how inefficient, clunky, antiquated all the software is. And these are firms that manage billions of dollars. So I thought, what needs to be fixed the most? And it's the CRM software. Because when you think about it, CRM is the central command center of your firm. It is the hub. It's where you keep all your data. This is where you see all your tasks, all your processes, all your workflows. And we use Salesforce. And when you think about it, it's just a really expensive form of basic data entry. And if you're a large firm, sometimes these guys are even paying implementation specialists 6 figures just to set it up for them, how they want to set it up. So we did some exploring, looked around at some other competitors in the market. There's 2 of them. Like I said, all antiquated and clunky. One was made in early 2000s and still looks like it and functions like it. And then the other one, it looks like you're logging on to your Facebook newsfeed from 2014. It was made in 2004. It looks like you're logging on to Facebook to manage your financial advisory practice. So his background in AI sales training, we just started calling dozens of advisors, seeing if this was an actual problem or if it was just my own thesis. And it seems like it works. A lot of these guys have the same problems. So it's just...
Did you go after the largest Kenyan wealth advisors?
No, I didn't, unfortunately.
Different.
Unfortunately, I didn't. We went after the small fish. But yeah, no, we've just been at it for a couple of months now and making good progress.
You mentioned that your dad's an entrepreneur. He's been in the golf business. What was that feeling like, knowing that you wanted to be an entrepreneur yourself? Like, how did you know that, and what age did that strike you?
Well, I never saw my dad coming home to complain about a boss. So I never envisioned myself having a boss. Not that there was anything wrong with it, but I knew I always wanted to run my own business. So going out on my own at the same time didn't feel weird to me. It didn't feel foreign to me because I'd seen my own family members do it. And at the same time, they're also very supportive because he's done the same thing and just wanted me to follow my dreams.
We'll get back to the podcast in 1 minute, but I just wanted to let you know the sponsor of this week's episode, which is me. So I've got a free 5-day email course that will help anyone with a 9-to-5 or a beginner solopreneur start and scale their business to $1,000 per month. So you can find the link in the description in this podcast episode. Click on it. It's free to sign up. You'll get 5 emails from me teaching you and walking you through how to start your one-person business and make your first $1,000 per month recurring. So I'll see you there, and thank you for listening to this episode. How do you think working a 9-to-5 job impacted the startup you have now?
Obviously, we're working on this idea because of the opportunities and the inefficiencies I found in wealth management. I think if I didn't go into wealth management, I probably still would have found something else to work on. I feel like I have the type of mindset where I'm always looking for new opportunities to explore and challenge the conventional way of thinking. But being in the 9-to-5, it just feels very dead end to me. I would much rather work 80 hours a week for myself and not enjoy the fruits of the labor that I'm doing.
You mentioned your father being an entrepreneur for your whole life. What lessons did you learn from him?
That is hard. It's not easy, that you have to work sometimes 100 hours a week. I mean, it's just not easy. It's not easy. You never know what's going to happen every single day, which is a little bit of the beauty of it. It's good for people that don't like repetitive tasks. You can't be afraid to go out there and talk to new people. Learn something new, put yourself in uncomfortable situations, and you just really need to have an open mind.
What were some of the pivotal moments or challenges that you faced along the way, all the way to starting this business that you're working?
Well, I hated having a traditional job per se. I felt like I was in a dead end role every single day. I almost felt like a failure because I had a traditional job because I never wanted one. So I always knew I was going to start something of my own. I never planned to start an AI first CRM. Like I said, it just came from the inefficiencies we found, but this would not have been possible if I never met Bhavya. So you find opportunities in random places that you would never expect, and you just have to take advantage of those relationships and nurture them.
And you mentioned obviously the running into him once in Bali and then once in Malaysia. Mm-hmm. How do you think travel impacted this journey for you? Because it seems to be...
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. So the great thing about traveling is you meet a lot of open-minded people and get to experience a lot of different cultures. And that's just something I didn't see in Florida, right? I'd been out of the States once maybe before to the Bahamas. Especially, I've never been this far away from home. So it changes the way of thinking from, I don't know, maybe American mainstream media where it's like, you have to go to school, get a job, do this, to this, to, my co-founder and I were complete opposites. He was raised in Kenya in a home without water. He had a completely different set of skills, or just a different day-to-day life than I had. And I think when you mix those two aspects together, we make a good team, because we can see a lot of problems from different angles and figure out ways to solve them.
Was there a moment in your travels where you thought, I'm not going back to a 9-to-5 job, I'm going to make this work? Or was it more of a gradual process?
Well, it was a gradual process. I don't think I ever know where I'm going. And like I said, I just look at opportunities and go with them. My plan, to tell you the truth, was probably go back, get a job at another wealth management firm, or maybe start my own and just kind of hope something comes from that. But luckily, I found this, and so we're rolling with this right now, and going to see where it takes us. We have no idea. We live day by day, just with the idea that we're going to figure it out.
Yeah. How do you manage the fear, the uncertainty, the potential judgment or expectations of family and friends while you've taken this journey?
They have been incredibly supportive. I've gotten a lot of support from friends reaching out to me, loving what I'm doing, LinkedIn, Facebook, text messages. Me and my best friends, we each send each other like memes every day of just like influential business stuff. And I think that's something that's very good about American culture that I've seen that isn't found in a lot of parts of the world, is everybody wants to succeed and help you. So it's been overall generally positive.
In your journey, what did you value 5 years ago that you no longer value now?
What did I value 5 years ago that I no longer value now? I think 5 years ago, I was more methodical, and I wouldn't have launched something without having a clear outline of how to do it. Where now I sort of realize that you just have to jump in. If you want to do something, start now. You may not have all the answers, but you have to believe in yourself to figure it out.
What's the most valuable skill, aside from the one you just mentioned, needed as a startup founder?
I mean, I've said this a couple times, and I keep coming back to it, but I think being able to see opportunity and having a vision and believing in yourself is the most valuable skill.
If someone doesn't yet have that confidence, how do you think they develop that?
You have to put yourself out there. You have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. But growing up, I was an introvert. I never liked talking to people. I would have never, ever thought of myself doing this interview with you here right now. But me and Bobby, we try to put ourselves in uncomfortable situations, traveling, experiencing different cultures. And eventually you realize that business is just about developing relationships and meeting new people and creating contacts.
What's the biggest mistakes you see most startup founders make?
Not starting. I know I've met a lot of people here, and they've been like working on the launch for like a year now, or 10 months, and they don't have a single customer. And we started like a month and a half ago and already have a wait list of like 50 firms and a couple customers. So, and it's like, we don't even, our vision is not even 10% there yet, but we're just building in public and seeing where it's going to take us. Just starting now before it's too late.
So if you were to advise someone who has an idea, how would you advise them to get their first 3 customers?
Just be proactive, reach out. We've been using a bunch of various different sources. LinkedIn's great, cold email's great, cold calling works. But you also have to be very honest with the customer. You say, hey, listen, this is the set of challenges we want to face. I would love your opinion. We'll give you a lifetime discount. Your opinion means a lot to us. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. And we're not there yet, but we want to grow with you.
And that always gets a positive response.
It's nice because in the wealth management industry, we're reaching out to all other entrepreneurs. And there's this genuine sense of just wanting to help other entrepreneurs.
What are some emerging trends or technologies that you're particularly excited about? And how do you see them influencing the future of your field?
Well, since ChatGPT was released 2 years ago, there's just been an incredible amount of growth within the AI space. So I think that's an industry that's still very new. I think within the next couple of months, we're going to see a lot of improvements. I think people didn't realize how much it was going to affect us, but it's kind of become clear now that it's here to stay. It's not just another crypto craze. So I definitely think AI is going to change the world.
What's a big trend in the future of work that you think most people are not seeing?
Not seeing?
Or talking about?
I think a lot of roles are going to get automated through the use of AI. I think a lot of workflows I think a lot of tasks that were previously offline were going to become online, such as gathering documents, sending documents out, just administrative tasks.
What would that mean for people in these jobs at the moment?
I think relationships are always going to be valued. I think some people are scared that AI is going to completely take over their job. But at the end of the day, I have a financial advisor. You have a financial advisor. It's a relationship business. And you're not going to trust some machine all the time to listen to you and hear about your problems. You want that real human connection. I think relationships are important.
What are the 1 to 3 of the most impactful books or podcasts you've read or listened to?
So I used to listen to The Compound with Josh Brown, Animal Spirits. That's another good book. Right now, I'm reading a book. It's called FinTech Wars by James DaCosta. He's a fintech founder. He founded a bank in Africa, and now he is a VC partner at A16Z. It's a brand new book. It's very good. I recommend it. It just tells about a lot of stories he's learned along the way.
FinTech Wars.
FinTech Wars.
FinTech Wars by
James DaCosta.
James DaCosta. So that's 2 books and 1 podcast you mentioned?
1 book and 2 podcasts.
2 podcasts. Is there any other books that have been influential for you?
Yeah, another good book, Game of Numbers by Nick Murray. It's kind of like the Bible for prospecting for financial advisors, but it has a lot of lessons that could be taken into any field of sales that you're in.
What advice would you give to your 21-year-old self?
Just start. I would say just start. You may not have all the answers. I mean, you're definitely not going to know where you're going, but if you don't start, you're not going to move anywhere.
And lastly, why did you choose to live and work in Southeast Asia?
By chance. It was complete circumstance. Like I said, I just visited my buddy who was in Sri Lanka, came here as part of his trip itinerary, and was lucky enough to meet my co-founder. I couldn't have done anything without him. He's hugely instrumental in this whole process.
And is there any final messages you want to leave with the audience?
I would say it's okay to be unsure of yourself, or unsure if you don't know where you're going. That's part of the process. I see a lot of people come to Bali running away from something. I think at the same time, you can look at that vision and realize you're not running away from something. You're running towards something. You just don't know what it is yet.
I like that framing. That's very powerful. Anything else you want to plug?
I'm just going to plug spacesos.com, the AI first CRM for financial advisors. Streamline all your automations, AI note-taking, automate workflows, client service, anything you need.
And where can people find out more about the startup and yourself?
Yeah, so like I said, spacesos.com. You can also find us on LinkedIn, Chase Cohn or Bavia Barrett.
Hello, friends, and thank you again for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard and got value from the podcast, I would love for you to share it with a friend who also wants to start, grow, and scale their solopreneur business or on their own one-person business journey. And if you could like and subscribe, that would be amazing. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.